Hi everyone and welcome to Sports Watch. If you like the content, please press the bell icon for further notifications and like, share and subscribe to the channel. Charles Oliveira is back. He defeated by submission in the second round at the main event of UFC Rio and went on to call out Max Holloway for the BMF title. Charles Oliveira was coming back after a brutal knockout at the hands of Ilia Topuria not too long ago in June 28th. So many would have thought that it was a little too early for Charles to jump right back into the octagon, that too against a short notice opponent like Matthias Gamrot. But in the end, it turned out to be the right one for Oliveira because Gamrot was clearly not ready for Charles. That's why a short notice fight can be a little bit tricky. Matthias Gamrot took this fight on 2 weeks' notice, while Charles had a full training camp behind him. Granted, it was a stylistically different matchup for Charles, but he had that full training camp compared to Gamrot's only 2 weeks. And Charles is an elite grappler, much better grappler than Matthias Gamrot has ever faced in his entire life. And it was visible from the very first round. Not only was Charles the better grappler, but he was the better striker as well. Gamrot always shoots for takedowns. Whenever he's hurt or whenever he isn't, he always shoots for takedowns. Now, as the fight was rolling along, it got quite clear that Gamrot would have difficulty in taking Charles down, as Charles is definitely the bigger fighter. But what was unknown was the ease with which Charles Oliveira manhandled Matthias Gamrot. Gamrot wasn't supposed to be that weak. Whether he had some problems in his weigh-ins, whether he was underprepared, that can be definitely a cause for concern, but it was evident that Charles Oliveira was bigger and was stronger. And the number of times that Matthias Gamrot shot in on him, Oliveira could defend. He was taken down once by Gamrot, but he recovered very nicely. The jiu-jitsu of Charles Oliveira is exceptional. He is very good off his back. But Matthias Gamrot isn't, and that was clearly visible this fight. While he happens to be a very good grappler, it was really an unknown commodity how good he was on the ground. He had faced Arman Sarukian before and managed to get the decision in his favor, but many thought he actually lost that fight. But even in that fight, Sarukian was able to take Gamrot down, and Gamrot was able to recover as well. But Charles is a different beast altogether. Off his back, he has some of the most slick submissions in the UFC, and when he got Gamrot down, off his back, Gamrot really didn't have much to offer. Charles easily snuck onto his back and caught him in a rear naked choke and submitted him. It was an easy victory for Charles Oliveira. It's also his 21st finish by way of a submission. So he goes out and calls out Max Holloway for the BMF title. It's a good fight. The last time Charles Oliveira and Max Holloway fought was nearly 11 years back when both of them were relatively young in their careers, and Max Holloway won that fight. Now, Charles Oliveira did claim that he was injured. He had an esophagus tear in that fight and he couldn't compete as well as he would have wanted to. He was knocked out, but there was a question mark considering that he was injured. Now, 10 years later, both of them are completely different fighters. Back then, Charles was also known to be a quitter. He would quit in his fights whenever he was pressed, whenever he got hurt, whenever he found that there was no way for him to win. But the Oliveira of now is completely different. He marches forward with mean intentions. He's a far better striker now than he was before. And Max Holloway is a stud. He has always been a stud. He never turns fights down. He's never afraid of a fight. He was the BMF back then. He is still a BMF now. Granted, he is a little bit older now, but at the age of 33, Max is still relatively young. Most fighters start their careers at that age. Max is already over 10 years in the company. That's how long Max Holloway has been fighting. And while Oliveira challenged Max to a fight, Max has already accepted it. In his live stream, he wants to fight in March because he's already out. He's recuperating from a hand injury which is sustained at the hands of Dustin Poirier in their last fight for the BMF title. So might be that Max versus Charles takes place next year in March, or it even maybe that they both fight in the White House card. That is also a possibility. But however, Max Holloway doesn't want to wait for 1 year. He wants to fight. It's the activity that's the key for Max Holloway. It is going to be a good fight because both of them are very good strikers. But the X factor is Oliveira's wrestling and jiu-jitsu. But Max isn't the most easy guy to take down, and he has decent striking himself. And now both of them fought at 145 pounds 10 years back. Now both of them are at 155 pounds. The 10-pound difference is also be a factor. In his last fight with Dustin Poirier, the one thing that was extremely evident was Max Holloway's power. In his previous two fights with Poirier, he couldn't hurt him. But in the last fight, he dropped him not once but twice. He was the aggressor in that fight, and Dustin Poirier couldn't deal with him. He had his moments in the second round, but apart from that, it was a clinical performance from Holloway. And Charles Oliveira does get hit, he does get hurt, and Max Holloway will put it on you. He will not go down into the guard game of Oliveira. He'll make him stand up and he will trade with him. Now, Oliveira's boxing has definitely gotten better. But Max Holloway has been knocked out only once in his entire UFC career, and that too by Ilia Topuria. Now, Max is known for his granite chin, but Oliveira is also known for his striking. So it would be a good fight, good stylistic matchup. Both of them are a little bit more old. Both of them have had their fair shares of losses. And it would be an interesting fight if the UFC finally get it made. Who will be victorious? It's too early to predict. Will it be Max Holloway or will it be Charles Oliveira? Let me know in the comment section what you feel. And if you like the content, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel.